We seem to have gotten to a stage in mountain biking where parts don't seem as interchangeable as they used to, and it's a nightmare. Standards are constantly changing. But what if I told you that one of the most possibly expensive parts on your bike could last way longer than you think, even if you were to change riding styles? I am talking about your suspension, of course, and thanks to Manitou for sponsoring this video, I'm going to be showing that one fork does plenty. Yes, we're going on 4 different rides on 4 different bikes at 4 different travels to show just how versatile they can be. Adjustable travel forks, well, they've been around for years actually, but often at the expense of performance. Now, modern day forks, you can of course change the travel in them. It does mean sort of a costly internals change potentially, and that is where Manitou have been quite clever. Using travel spacers and simply adding or removing them, you can change them from 140 all the way through to 180. With that then, the forks are set at their lowest travel, 140mm on my trail bike, my Reactor. So I think it's about time we went for a spin. Oh. So then 140mm done. I think we can go up 10mm, but for that it means I got to strip the forks and up it another 10mm. So to show you properly how to do it, let's head back to the tech set. Welcome to the lab with Professor Payne. Right, let's change the travel on these forks. Starting off with a nice clean work area and all the tools I'll need, I'll release all the air from the lower chamber first, then the IRT valve at the top. A 2mm Allen key will whip off the rebound adjuster, then a 14mm spanner to undo the nuts at the bottom of the legs. Carefully remove the uppers from the lowers, making sure not to spill any oil. However, now is a good time to change that oil if it needs it. Using the modified cassette tool that's supplied with a fork, undo the Dorado air shaft and carefully pull it out. Now's the fun bit. You can choose exactly what travel you want here. I'm after 150, so that means 3 lots of travel spacers. It's mega easy to take them on and off just like this. So when it comes to the amount of travel spacers that you're going to use, less is more. So the less spacers you have, the more travel you get. No spacers is 180mm, 4 spacers is 140mm. I've got 3 spacers on because we're going to need 150. Once you've got your desired travel, it's time to lube up that seal with the lube provided before putting it back in, and I'll also lube up the threads just to stop anything snagging before pushing them back together and tightening them back up carefully, not to over tighten here. Insert the uppers back into the lowers. If you need to change any seals or re-grease, now's the time for this as well whilst they're apart. They're brand new here, so I'm all good. Push them back together and spin on the nuts at the bottom, being careful not to over tighten, reversing the process at the beginning. I'll inflate these back to my desired pressures, starting with the IRT at the top, then jobs are good in. Bike geometries are designed around fork lengths and therefore travel, but there is a range of travel you can use for most bikes depending on how you want to affect the geometry. For example, the nuke-proof Reactor is spec'd with 130 to 160mm travel fork, depending on the wheel size and intended riding. Adding a longer travel fork will slacken the head angle for more stability at speed, but also up the bottom bracket height and slacken the seat tube as well. So a travel adjustable fork gives you the versatility to swap between bikes, but also tweak the characteristics of the bike you have. Adding 20mm to your fork travel will change the head angle by about 1 degree slacker, but it is important to stay within the fork travel range for your bike, otherwise you can void the warranty on the frame. That's the travel change, and now it's time to get back to the trail. Time to mix it up. 150mm hardtail, flowy shreds incoming! Ta-da! Right, day one is done. 2 different travels, 2 different bikes, and very pleasantly surprised with it on a trail bike and a sort of more aggressive hardtail with a nice mixture of riding. But day 2 is coming up and we're going to jump up in travel, which means I'm going to go back, get it in the garage, change it out with some more travel spacers, play around with high and low speed compression, and well, dawn is a new day and let's see what happens. We're back, day 2, and it brings us here to the dirt farm in Wales. We've done 140, we've done 150 mil. We're jumping up a notch, people. 170 on the front of the Rallon. Yes, that's right. Today, we are hitting Enduro bike park laps. But before we do that, we need to take a quick trip back in time. For the older generation out there, you might remember this fork, the Manitou Dorado. Revolutionary at the time, an upside down fork that's still in the Manitou lineup today. And the internals on this actually paved the way for what's inside the Mezzers right here. The Dorado didn't get its ride quality reputation for nothing, and it's transferring that technology over to the Mezzer that's given them the ride quality that they have. The internals are essentially a unique balancing valve that equalize the air pressure between the positive and negative air chambers during the airfill process. This gives the spring rate a consistent feel all the way through its travel, essentially eliminating or cutting out any flat or dead spots in the stroke. And as someone who's going to go hammer these forks, believe me, that is a good thing. Well, with that being said then, we're at 170 mil, so let's be having you. Oh man, so that's 170 done and I'm getting pretty beat. It means we've got to go up to 180, but I want to take it easy, so I think I've got just the bike. So it's on to the big bike. I thought I'd put the 180 mil travel on the e-bike and we'll smash some laps. 37 mil stanchions means they're plenty stiff enough. And using their infinite rate tune, I've actually added more air pressure at the end of the stroke to kind of get it to firm up and stiffen up a little bit because I'm going to blow through it. I've got so much travel, obviously. I've also added some of the high-speed compression on as well. So let's spin some laps. Hell of a time on the 180s. Unbelievable fun, but I mean, you might be thinking, Rich, of all the times to put the factory fitted mudguard on, this would be the one. I thought it was going to be dry. And speaking of dry, let's get cleaned up, get back to the calf and summarise, shall we? See you in a mo. Oh, well, what a day. Or 2 days, in fact. Right, considerably warmer and dry, albeit maybe not cleaner anymore, but That's 4 different rides on 4 different travels on 4 different types of bikes. So in answer, can one fork do it all? Well, I think Manitou have definitely got bloomin' close with this Mezzer. But I'll let you decide in the comments down below. And to boot, it was actually pretty simple, even for a guy like myself who's maybe not the most tech savvy, to change that travel as well. Is a fork like this something you'd be interested in? Would you be looking at kind of future-proofing your bike like that maybe? Or if you switch from trail riding to enduro riding, maybe this fork could be the one for you. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you, Manitou, for supplying their new Mezzer. I'm out of here for a shower. I'll catch you later.